Welcome back to Interior Design 101, the Complete Beginner's Course, which is my 10-part series where I teach you one key design principle per episode so that by the end of the series, you can design your home all on your own, even if you've never done it before, because you will have the right tools and you will start thinking like a designer. So today we are jumping into balance, which is very overlooked, but just so important. If you walk into a room and it looks great and you can't tell why, it's probably the balance. So by the end of the episode, you will know how to use balance in many different ways, and I will even teach you a designer trick on how to use imbalance too. So stick with me and let's get into it because we've got lots to go through. Hi guys, I'm Louie. I'm an architect and designer, and I've worked in design for 20 years. And if there's one thing I know is that every great composition starts with balance. It doesn't matter what you're designing, balance is a key part of it. So today I'm going to explain exactly how you use it in interiors to create harmony, flow, and all the goodness that we want from our spaces. So let's dive right into chapter number 1, and that is what balance means in design. So what exactly is balance? Well, in simple terms, balance means visual equilibrium. So distributing visual weights so no part of a room feels heavier, emptier, or disconnected from the rest. So here's something interesting. Your mind is actually hardwired to scan the space for harmony and balance. So when you immediately walk into a space, you're already going to start observing all of the different shapes, colors, textures, and objects and how they relate to each other. And when you find that the balance is off, like one side of the room is very heavy and the other side of the room is very bare, what happens is it'll create a sense of discomfort that you might not even understand why it's happening. Like consciously, you don't know why it's uncomfortable, but your body does. And that's because your brain is having a harder time interpreting the room and it's not fully balanced. So what we can do is use balance in our favor to make a space more comfortable, more aesthetically pleasing, and just more functional for our day-to-day lives. There are 3 main types of balance, and designers can use them in many different ways, but let's start by looking at symmetrical balance. Symmetrical balance is the classic mirror image layout, so everything evenly distributed around a central axis. Think 2 identical chairs and a table or a bed with nightstands on both sides. It creates a sense of predictability, and with that comes order and calm, which is perfect for traditional minimalist or serene interiors. So our brains actually love symmetry, and that's because it signals stability, structure, and even predictability. But use it with caution because if everything is symmetrical, it just kind of starts to look stale and formal. The second kind of balance is asymmetrical balance. This one's more relaxed and modern. Instead of identical pieces, you balance visual weight using different objects that feel equal in presence. For example, one large artwork on a wall can balance a smaller piece of furniture on the opposite side, or in a bedroom, having a pendant light on one side of the bed and a lamp on the other. It'll feel dynamic, effortless, and more like a space that evolved naturally over time. Now, asymmetrical balance works really well in open plan layouts or eclectic style homes where matching isn't even possible sometimes or desirable. And last but not least, we have radial balance. Now, this type radiates from a central focal point and everything revolves around it. So think of a pendant light centered above a round dining table or seating arranged in a circle around a table or fireplace. So radial balance will naturally guide the eye towards the center, which is why it promotes togetherness and focus and equality. Now, it's ideal for gatherings and conversations, so you might want to use it in places like a living room or a dining room. All right, so to drive this home, let's go through an example scenario. You're going to picture a bedroom setup. The bed is your main anchor, right in the center of the wall. If you use symmetrical balance, you might place 2 matching nightstands, identical lamps, and artwork centered above the headboard. It feels calm, tidy, and instantly harmonious, ideal if you want a restful, traditional space. Now, say you prefer a more asymmetrical balance. So on one side of the bed, you keep a nightstand and lamp. On the other, you replace them with a low stool and a stack of books, or a floor plant. Even though the items aren't identical, they have similar visual weights. So the space still feels balanced, just more relaxed and personal. Even though the items aren't identical, they have similar. Finally, imagine a radial touch, maybe a pendant or woven chandelier centered above the bed that visually anchors everything around it and draws your eye to the center and ties the whole layout together. So here's the fun part. Now that you're attuned to all of these different types of balances, you're going to start to notice them everywhere. And the more you notice them and the more you try to play with them, you're going to learn that very subtle changes can sometimes make a huge difference. So if you just change around one or two decor pieces, maybe you'll find balance in your space. So just keep an eye out because you're going to start picking up on this really soon. Chapter number 2, why balance matters. Here is why it matters. Our brains instinctively crave order and balance. And according to Gestalt theory, which we went through in episode 1, and it's lots of fun, have a look at that if you haven't yet. Well, we naturally seek out patterns and we try and combine, connect, and align shapes until they make sense to us and until they feel stable to our brains. When a space is imbalanced, your brain notices instantly. Even if you can't explain why, you'll just feel slightly uneasy, like something's not clicking. That's why when designers talk about a room that feels right, what we're talking about is balance. So if your space feels off, it's probably not the sofa or the color, it's the balance. Chapter number 3, how to use visual weight. Okay, so let's get practical. How do we actually create balance, right? So this comes down to something called visual weight. And that is basically how heavy or how light something appears to be. So it has nothing to do with its physical weight, just how it looks to you. Now, once you start to understand visual weights, you're going to start to understand and you'll be able to pinpoint why some spaces feel calm and other spaces feel messy. On this channel, we like to keep it easy peasy, so let's break it down and go through a few different ways you can use visual weight. The first one is scale. So bigger pieces will look heavier and they will ground the room, creating natural focal points that draw the eye. Here's an example. If you have a large sectional sofa on one side of your living room, you can balance that visual weight by adding a tall bookshelf, a standing lamp, or even a large piece of vertical art on the opposite side. That gives the eye somewhere else to rest. Color is another element that adds visual weight. So dark colors visually anchor a space. They feel denser, richer, and heavier, while lighter tones lift and expand it. For example, a terracotta armchair will visually anchor one side of the room. But if the rest of the room is all pale neutrals, it'll feel lopsided. Add a colorful lamp or a wood coffee table or artwork that repeats that deep tone on the other side to restore balance. Texture also adds visual weight, so rough, matte, or natural textures will absorb light and feel much more substantial, while smooth, shiny, or reflective surfaces bounce light and appear lighter. For example, a rustic wooden table has more visual weight than a glass one, so if styled with a glossy pendant lamp or with a glazed ceramic fruit bowl, you can bring the space back to equilibrium. And of course, there's placement. Where things sit in a space affects how we perceive their weight. So items that are higher, farther from the center, or clustered together carry more visual impact. Here's an example. A tall plant tucked into the corner can make a small room feel taller and more balanced, while an off-center pendant light might pull focus more unevenly. So once you start interpreting things as visual weight and not just objects, you're going to realize exactly what's off in the room, and the best part is you'll know how to fix it. But if you want more help, I always create really great resources, and one of them is my one-page PDF balance cheat sheet, if you will. So it is linked below and you can grab it. It's free. And every episode, I also make available a PDF to kind of just go over the episode's topics and give you guys a nice little summary and maybe some exercises or checklists that you can use at home to really drive the point home. So yeah, grab that. It's really useful. And let's move on to the next chapter. Chapter number 4, how to fix a lopsided room. Now this is way common and you're probably going to see it very often. And there is a step-by-step guide on how to fix it. So worry not because I'm sharing all my secrets today. And let's go through my little exercise on how to spot when the room is imbalanced. Step number 1 is to stand back and squint. Yes, really. You really do need to squint because when you blur your vision, you only see shape and tone, and that will help you instantly spot which side feels visually heavier. Step number 2 is to find your weight. So what draws your eyes first? If all the attention is on one side, like a darker chair and artwork, you're going to have to add balance with something substantial on the other side, like a plant, a bookcase, or a tall lamp. Step number 3 is to repeat shapes and colors because repetition will help connect the room. So you're going to echo a wood coffee table with wood framed artwork, a dark throw pillow, and decor accents across the room. It's one of the simplest ways to rebalance visually. If you want, you can try it now. Just stand in the front of the room and just squint so that you can spot it, and maybe you'll be able to tell, where it's too heavy. Let me know if it works for you guys. I use this all the time. It's kind of like my floor and chair method for the artwork. So let me know if it works. Chapter number 5, when imbalance works. Now here's the twist. Perfect balance isn't always ideal. It's not always about perfect symmetry. Sometimes that asymmetrical balance, that imbalance, is actually what makes a space feel interesting. It will give it a natural look and not that staged, rigid showroom or very expensive designer look where everything just looks so meticulous. It'll give you a little bit of interest. It'll bring movement, flow. It'll create energy in the room. So it's really fun to know how to use it. And that's why we went through all the rules first, guys, because now we can break them. And here are my tips on how to do exactly that. You might hang one large piece of art slightly off center above your sofa, then balance it all with a tall floor lamp or a leafy plant on the opposite side, because that gentle contrast will create rhythm. Your eye moves naturally from one element to the other. Or imagine a bedroom where only one side of the bed has a nightstand. The other side might have a floor lamp or a small artwork above. It still feels grounded, but also relaxed and personal, so like a space that evolved over time. In a reading nook, you might pair a cozy armchair with a large piece of abstract art hung just a little too high and balance that height with a low, round side table and a stack of books. The uneven levels keep your eye moving, and that's what makes the corner feel alive. The secret here is control, because imbalance will only work if it's supported by harmony elsewhere. So somewhere like your colors or your fabrics, your materials or your proportions. It all has to work together in the end, because that way it's not like you're really breaking the rules. It's more like you're just, bending them on purpose. And because these episodes are so full of information, I always like to do a little recap so we know exactly what we've learned during the episode and a little sneak peek of what's coming. So here's what we learned today. So we learned how to use imbalance to make a room feel calm, grounded, and intentional. We broke down the 3 types of balance: symmetrical, asymmetrical, and radial, and how to spot them in your home. We also discovered how visual weight works, how scale, color, texture, and placement can completely change how a space feels, and how to fix imbalance using simple tricks like repetition and vertical elements. Finally, we talked about the designer's secret weapon, intentional imbalance, how to break the rules just enough to make the space feel alive. And don't forget to download the Designer Balance cheat sheet. It's in the description below, and it's free. So in the beginning of this episode, I promised you guys that we were going to dive deep into balance and understand what it means in the context of interior design. So what is it, why it matters, how to use it, and even how to break the rules with a little bit of intention. So hopefully, if this was useful to you, drop me a like, a comment, and a subscribe, because it really does help. And remember that if you need more help pulling your home together, I have 2 great resources. The first is my home checklist, and it will go room by room. It'll tell you what furniture you need in each room. It'll give you helpful guides, schematics to just kind of make the decisions easier throughout your journey. And I have a color palette inspiration pack, and it is wonderful. It is full of different color palettes. They are sorted by mood. You have the hex codes, and you also have tips on proportion, how to apply it. It's all there. Have a look, whether you're a color beginner or a color pro. I promise you it can be helpful. Both are free, and in the description below. Guys, thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I will be back next week with more info on interiors, and I'll see you then.